Because if Katrina was the devil, she won. If she was the devil, she won them. And God done us wrong. 10 years later, that's not the truth.
When I hear Katrina, I think devastation, tragedy, death. I think of the people I've lost. Scares me a little bit. 10 years later, I've grown tremendously in my faith.
Even after losing everything in the storm, I'm in so much better place where I'm at now and appreciative.
First coming here, it was different and it was a challenge, but I think we have blended into the community to not only just come to take, but to give.
Hurricane Katrina brought deliverance. We would have went back if there was anything for us to go back to. People ask us all the time, how did y'all choose Marble Falls? Started Smoking for Jesus ministry 1996 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Back in the 9th Ward, Revelation 3:16 says, I'd rather you be cold or hot. If you're lukewarm, he said, I'll spill you out of my mouth. We named it Smoking for Jesus, red hot, on fire for the Lord. It was a rough area, a lot of drugs, a lot of prostitution, a lot of things going on.
The crime rate was ridiculous when we left.
But we were somewhat put in a place where we can help a lot of people.
That's really New Orleans-ish. When I came to the Lord, I was 30 years old, and I had made a whole bunch of mistakes at that particular point.
I wasn't a very nice person. I did drugs. I didn't treat family right. I'm not the same anymore, and I'm grateful.
Katrina, as most of you know, has become a monster of a hurricane, a storm on track to be the biggest hurricane ever to hit the United States.
We've run from storms my entire life. Normally, you take 3 days worth of clothing, pack it up, and you expect it to come back.
We prayed that God would protect us, of course. Each one that departs, God, touch him, protect him, Lord. Guide him, Lord, on the road, God. Help him to be safe.
I view the ministry as family, so it was natural for me to see what everybody else in the ministry was going to do.
I was afraid of the unknown. I didn't know what was going to happen.
My wife packed all of our pictures, wedding pictures, everything. I took them out and said we needed more room for other things. She came back behind me, put it back in the van. That's the only reason why we still have all of our pictures and everything, you know. So listen to your wife.
August 29, 2005, we, my family, my friends, and my church family were at church to prepare to leave, fleeing Hurricane Katrina. I rode with my daughter and her children.
Most importantly, use common sense. Electricity and water do not mix. Stay away from down.
The journey itself was very hard. The traffic was phenomenal.
They had an evacuation plan, but it didn't work because everything was going in one direction, out of town.
Cars were stopping on the side of the road. They were broken down. Some people ran out of gas.
We traveled at least 12 hours, which a trip wouldn't have took but probably 5 hours.
But thank God we arrived. We were all at the Christian Retreat Center, Church Alive, Lumberton, Texas.
Our plan, if it's able to go back, you know, and we can go back in there and do something. But if not, you know, then whatever the Lord will is, it doesn't matter.
We were expecting to stay for 3 days, but of course, when we realized the severity of the storm, it hit home.
The scene is nothing short of apocalyptic. 80% of New Orleans, including much of downtown, is underwater.
It's unbelievable still that in one day, over almost 10 years being in that building was wiped out in one day. Everything was flooded out. They didn't have schools for the children. We had at least 60, 70 young children with us at that time. So they didn't have anywhere to go back to school. So we couldn't go back.
We only stayed in Lumberton 3 weeks. Only 3 weeks.
September 22nd, 2005. It's a Thursday. My God, there's another hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico called Rita, and she's heading for Texas.
This massive hurricane continues its collision course towards the Gulf Coast.
Now we have nothing again.
So again, we're moving, running to higher ground. The trip was terrible. It was bumper-to-bumper traffic everywhere.
We were homeless. We only had a few clothes and a pretty good vehicle to ride in. That was it.
We embraced it as a new embarkment on life. So it was 2 storms that actually steered our way.
When I read back in my journal, I keep seeing over and over and over how God took care of me and my kids and my church family. He never let us down. Every step of the way, he was always one step ahead of the game.
Relating to the journey of Moses, just about 40 days we traveled along before we came to Marble Falls.
It's unbelievable to be in the hill country. We feel like we're in a better place.
There's not gunshots you're hearing every second. This is real peaceful.
We fit right in. We had a restaurant back in New Orleans, and we just kind of picked up back where we left off. We get people all the time coming in and wanting to know, about New Orleans, and we get to explain our story.
We were debating where we wanted to go today, and we said, let's go to Cajun food. Can't beat it.
Just to see this family, how they've ingrained themselves in the city and the community, and God is blessing them, and they are blessing us in return, so it's fantastic.
We're Texans now.
Your Marble Falls Mustangs!
My son Cyril was 12 when we left New Orleans. And when we got here, the coaches taken a liking of him because of his size. He's at Saints training camp right now, working it out to make that team.
It's like everything went full circle. In 10 years, I went from leaving here to coming back here.
I didn't expect him to go to the New Orleans Saints. We had a lot of different choices. The Saints is my team now.
When we first came, the church was already built. The ranch has 56 acres. About 18 is set aside for the church. Everything we needed. We had places to build our homes.
We live on Promise Lane. God keeps his promise. He's faithful. That's what it means to me to live on Promise Lane.
Beautiful place on lakefront property. This was a miracle. Everything fell in place. So I'm still asking the Lord. He knew. He gave everything that we needed.
My family is here. My pastor and his wife, they're here. My church family, they're here. This is my life. And I'm not giving that up to go back to Louisiana for nothing.
I mean, we've been here now almost 10 years. It's just been an open arm type, atmosphere, and we appreciate that.
I believe the whole journey was set up by God, because I believe this is just the beginning of what God brought.